Hi, friend. Happy Wednesday. It's so good to see you. Happy 2024. I missed you. I don't know if you missed me, but I missed you because I have not seen you since December. So it's been a minute. I hope that your holiday was restful and you got all the relaxing in and you ate all the sweets and all the cookies and all the candy. And now, probably like me, you're like, I need to drink more water, maybe take a walk outside, maybe detox a little bit. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Good to see you guys. I'm really excited to kick 2024 off, like most people, in a way that feels more healthy, like we're doing more with less, like we are taking the shortcuts, that we are copying smart people's homework, and that we are really trying to dig in and make this year the best year, the most amazing adventure that we could possibly make it. So I'm really excited that you are in this with me and that we are going to take this journey over the next year together. If you're new here, welcome. We're a super fun bunch. We meet here every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to copy the homework of really smart, interesting people. It is our virtual coffee shop, if you will. And it's a little different than other lives or workshops or sessions that you might have joined in the past because we're all at the coffee table. It's not just me and Shanae talking, it's you too, which means if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a tip or you have a tactic, don't keep it to yourself. That's not very nice. Share it with the rest of the group because we like tips and we like tactics and you're a smart person too. So we want to know what you have going on up here. So big hi to Jim and Holly and James and Rachel and Joey and Grace. As you can see, the chat is kind of the place to be. If you are listening to this at a later date, no worries. I know all of our Apple Podcast listeners really love listening while they are going for a run or washing the dishes. No worries. But if you can ever join here live, the chat is kind of the party. It's kind of where it's at. If you can ever join live, always feel free to write me a message. I'm happy to write down your question and ask it to our guest or talk about it in our solo sessions. So when we were kicking off 2024, and I was thinking about sort of everyone's, whether you want to call them goals or New Year's resolutions or things that we're working towards, I felt like the commonality after talking with a lot of my friends or family members or colleagues was that everyone just wants to do better. They just want to level up that little bit. They just want to, get that a little bit further. They're not necessarily saying, oh, I'm going to, skip ahead 5 spaces in the game board of life. They're just like, how do I skip ahead a little bit? And so when I was really thinking about this, I was thinking about, okay, where can we start with that? Where does that happen? And I think obviously the natural place is work. How do we work better? How do we work more efficiently? And the second thing that came up was really, how do we deep dive into this digital landscape, whether it's AI, whether it's software programs, whether it is talking to our boss about a raise, just how do we level up and work that little bit? And so I was really excited to get connected with Shanae, who's about to join us, because exclusive announcement, she has a new LinkedIn Learning course that comes out tomorrow. So we got her fresh and hot before this course releases. So I'm really excited. So please help me welcome Shanae to our conversation.
Hello. So good to see
So
you.
good
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you as well. I know I hinted at it a little bit, but you have a big LinkedIn launch on your hands.
Yes, I'm so excited. Tomorrow is launch day. My course covers data-driven design for anyone who's building websites, building apps, and you want to get it better. You mentioned new year, new you, new resolutions. This is the time to work on that website, work on that app, find research to help you create the right designs and get more people to your website and to your app and get all the things done very quickly, very efficiently.
I love this topic and I love this idea of just giving a refresh to things that we might be working on. And I know a lot of people who joining have side hustles. So they might have personal websites or Etsy stores or places where they're like, I do have a day job, but I got this little thing going on over here. So I'm curious for you, for anybody, clients that you've worked with that have a personal website or a side hustle website, What are some common sort of tips and tricks that you give them to really drive more customers, help customers navigate their website more easily?
Yeah, I think it's really important to understand what's already happening. So, finding out how people actually use your website and your app today. Where do they go? How do they get to your site? What devices do they use? Are they mostly on desktop? Are they mostly on mobile? Are they on iPhones? Are they on Android devices? Finding out as much information as possible so you can really tailor your updates to their needs and meet their expectations. So, a tool that I like to use is Google Analytics. You can integrate it with your website and with many apps, and it will show you the data on who's coming to your site, what country are they coming from, what locations around the world are they coming from, how long do they stay on your website, what path do they take when they go to the home page, what's the next page that they go to. So, getting all that data can help you identify where do people find your content and where can you make improvements and make updates as well.
I love Google Analytics. I feel like they give you way too much information in the best way possible. Like you can really nerd out on that stuff, which I think is so perfect. And it's perfect in terms of that is who you are and what you do. So if anybody didn't do their Google stalking before this, Shanae, your whole company is called Nerdy Diva. Like
Yeah,
you are the head nerd of us all, and we are nerds.
absolutely. Yes. Yes,
I
that's
love that.
right.
Even Rachel's like nerdy diva. I love that. It's so memorable. It is so memorable. So as the self-proclaimed, like nerdy diva of us all, what are some of your like besides Google Analytics? Do you have some go-to? I'm gonna have Shelby remind me, but we had a program that we were using that was really interesting on my website that was also showing you where people were like rage clicking or where they
Yeah.
were getting really frustrated. I'm forgetting the name of the company. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
So there's a few tools that you can use that will tell you where people click throughout your website. And it can also show you some data on predictive analytics as well. And it has some built-in AI to help you with creating content that will be helpful for your targeted audience. So some of these tools are Pendo, Pendo, and Optimizely. So these are tools that you can do a trial, add it to your website, and start tracking where are those clicks coming in, where are people focusing when they get to your website, and where are they dropping off, where are they seeing some type of content or some type of struggle that doesn't make sense to them, and then they're leaving your website. So all data is good data to know what lessons to improve on and what can be better the next time that you make updates to your website and to your app.
I love this. I'll add one more. Shelby just reminded me the program that we used was called Crazy Egg,
Yes,
and
that's a
it
good
did
one
something
too. Yes.
similar. It was so great because we saw this is so random, but on my website we saw that we had like this little icon. I don't know. It was like decoration. It was like a star or something. But we saw that people were clicking on it. So even though I was looking at it and Shelby and the web designer was like, "Oh, a star, like a little decoration." People thought that it did something. So they were
Right.
clicking on it
Yeah.
like, what's happening with the star?
Yeah. Show me something here. Yeah.
Show me something. But it
Yeah.
triggered us that we actually did indeed turn it into a button because we were like, well, if
Good.
enough people think it does something, then I guess we should make it do
That's
something.
right. And that's the beauty of human-centered design, that, it's this integration between how people use technology. And sometimes it's unpredictable. So getting the data firsthand and seeing that real-time information makes a huge difference on creating those updates that actually are aligned with how people use your websites and apps today.
1,000%. And I know you touched on it earlier, and I know that Jeff is bringing it up, but it's such a trigger word for some people that might be joining us, which is AI. It's such a trigger. I feel like a lot of people or messages that I get, it just seems like such an overwhelming kind of bottom of the Mount Everest that when they hear you kind of using it so effortlessly, they think, oh, well, that's easy for Shanae to say, but that's not easy for me. So how do you approach that with your clients or the people that you work with who might just think, oh, it's easy for Shanae, but it's not easy for me?
Oh my goodness. And that's the beauty and the chaos of working in technology, that it's always changing, it's always evolving. Some days I want to pull my hair out because it's changing yet again. But it's
Again.
also so like it's fun as well. Like it's an opportunity to be creative and to experiment and try something new. So I try to focus on what positivity is there, but also being very mindful that there are risks. There are security risks with using AI tools. There are risks of taking the data that you get from AI tools and only using that data without fact checking it, without getting additional research. It may have biases. So thinking about what the data is and doing an additional research check is also something to consider. But yeah, I see Jeffrey's question, and ChatGPT, I'm sure a lot of people have been hearing about it and maybe experimenting with it. And I also want to share, if you have the opportunity to try ChatGPT 4, this is the language model system that has even more data than the original ChatGPT 3.5. So it can also take in images as well. So you can add in images and you can add in prompts asking the tool, how would you describe using this particular image of a product for a marketing campaign, and see what type of content it tells you. And then you can use that as a reference as you build out your marketing campaigns.
Oh, that's super interesting. I had no idea that there was a Chat GP4 now. Do you go to
Yeah.
that same OpenAI website? Is that where the Chat GPT-4 is?
Yes, you can go to
Okay.
openai.com and it allows you to try ChatGPT. That will give you the ChatGPT 3.5, but you also have an option when you're in that tool to upgrade to ChatGPT 4. So you can do it that way. There's also an extension for Chrome called Merlin. So if you use the Merlin extension, then you can try ChatGPT for free for 1 month.
Ooh.
Yeah, so giving you all some tips.
I love that because I have a saying that says, if it's free, it's for me.
That's right. Yes.
And
$3.99. Yes.
free 99 is my favorite price to pay. I'm like, oh, it's free. I'll try it. Sounds great.
Yeah. And that's Merlin, Merlin. So find that Chrome extension and try out ChatGPT 4 for free.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Kyle is saying in the chat, I built my website off AI. I am guilty as charged. I mean, it's definitely something that people are using more and more as they think about websites and marketing. I'm sure you're seeing a ton of that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I think it's something sometimes people feel afraid of AI, like, oh my God, it's going to take all our jobs. Like, it's going to be like Wild West. And it has risks, definitely, but also it's important for us to stay in the conversation and to use our critical thinking skills and test the content that we're receiving from the AI tools. Where did it get it right? Where did it get it wrong? Fact checking the AI tools and pushing it to do better. So I think there's a lot that we can use the tools for, but know that we can't just sit on our laurels and just use it by itself. That it's a tool to be used with all the other tools that we have as well.
And when you say sort of fact check AI and fact check what it's giving you, do you just mean kind of Googling as like a cross reference, or is there another website or tool that you use to fact check with?
Yeah, I would definitely start with Google and looking for reputable sources. So a lot of like scholarly articles from research universities would be a good place to look if you're following people who have expertise in a particular area. So if you're following marketing gurus, or you're following people who have web design development, app design development experience, fact checking with what they have for their content. So just doing a little bit of extra work to see like, oh, okay, is this what AI gave me in the chat bot? Is that actually lining up to what I see from these other sources?
I got a really great piece of advice from Dave Burris, who has talked a lot about AI on LinkedIn. And one of the things he said is you need to think about AI as an intern. You would not take something that an intern like gave you, let's say you worked at, I don't know, Wells Fargo and you had a summer intern, you would not take something that summer intern did without checking it and be
Oh
like,
yeah,
send it
absolutely.
off to the client, send it off to the boss. Like, no way, it's an intern. I mean, we love interns, no shade to
Yeah,
interns,
yeah. I
but you
hire
gotta like
interns all the
check.
time. They're lovely people. Yes,
Lovely, but you gotta check their work. You can't
you
just be like
do.
sending it off. And he really, that kind of visualization helped me. I think sometimes people think of AI like, oh, it's smarter than me, and not always the case. It
That's
does get
right.
things wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's very important.
It's really important. And I also find that I love this idea of being able to use it for images. That's so great. And I think it's
Yeah.
really helpful for anybody who's doing a side hustle or maybe a solo founder. You can kind of use it to bounce ideas since you don't necessarily have another human being, a co-founder, sitting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Another tool that I use that has AI integration is Canva. So many people know Canva for creating designs, but they also have a new AI tool called Magic Studio. So you can use this tool within the
Mm.
Canva website, and it allows you to use AI for creating new designs for like your marketing,
Ooh.
social media, flyers and graphics, and also allows you to integrate with Runway AI for motion graphics. So you can put in prompts and ask it to like create a video that looks like a city downtown landscape at dusk. And it will have the image appear and the motion graphics appear for you. So it's really cool to see what they're doing.
No, wait. Okay, so is Runway AI different from Canva? Those are two different things.
They are two different things. Runway
Okay.
AI is its own company. They have machine learning for creating motion graphics. So it's like if you see like short clips of videos and there's some movement in the background, those are the motion graphics. So you can use Canva and put in a prompt for it to create some short motion graphics that you can use for like Instagram or TikTok or any other place you can use videos.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so obviously you have really nerded out in this department
Oh yeah.
for a while. Where do you feel like most people get stuck? Like, where do you find that most people kind of zig when they should zag?
You know, there's so much information out here. So it sometimes feels overwhelming just to get started. Like, where do I start first? And I
Yeah.
think it's important to really try to take it one day at a time and focus on the most important thing that would be helpful for you today. What's one thing that you can try today? And try to learn something new each day and set some goals. We use SMART goals at Nerdy Diva and with our interns as well. So creating some goals for yourself that can help you focus on something that's specific, that's measurable, something that you can actually attain in a reasonable amount of time, and understand how that can actually build upon itself over time.
I love that. And I feel like it's something that I also do myself with just, I call it kind of following the curiosity thread of, oh, I'm kind of curious about this. Like, let me go learn a little bit more. One place, obviously, I love to do that is LinkedIn Learning, just because it's such a wide, I
Oh,
think they
yeah.
have like 10,000 courses, like anything you could ever imagine, you can type in there and you'll find a course on it or a nano course on it. But I'm curious for you, as somebody who is also now going to be putting content in the LinkedIn Learning
That's
Library,
right.
are there I don't know, courses that you've taken on LinkedIn Learning or in kind of you followed and you're like, oh, I took this thing and I thought it was really cool to learn about XYZ.
Yeah, I actually took a AI for marketing class not too long ago to learn more about using AI in marketing for my business, and learned a lot. There was, I think, 3 modules, so very quick course. I think it was less than an hour. And it was something where I was able to get in, get some information at a high level, and then quickly apply it and found some new prompts for putting into ChatGPT to help me create some more content and use it for like SEO, keywords for Google search, and for marketing campaigns. It was great. I learned a lot.
Oh, I love that. I feel like James is right there with us. He said, I just started a new learning path for AI earlier this week. Yes,
Yeah.
James, me, Shanae, we're all doing it. We're all getting
We're
over
doing
there.
it. We're learning together. We're growing together. That's right.
Exactly. Okay, so for I know the course doesn't come out till tomorrow, and I know we don't want to spoil like too much about it, but if you think about it like a movie trailer, what would be kind of like the movie trailer of your LinkedIn Learning course that comes out tomorrow?
Oh my goodness. This is the course for anyone who has gotten stuck in a new project with a new team, and they're trying to figure out, how do I come in and help design a better solution? How do I find out what's most important? How do I prioritize that? And how do I create a design that people will actually care about, will actually use, and will actually help the business and company grow? This is the course for you if you are in that position.
I love that, because I feel like sometimes when you are sort of like the new person to the group, that is where you really need the help, is when you're just I'm new. Where do I even start?
Yeah, because you get pushed into the middle. You're not at the beginning of the project. You're in the middle, and all these things have happened before you got there. And you're just trying to figure out who's who, what to do next. So this course is going to really help you get started with organizing your stakeholders, understanding your analytic data, understanding your research data, and how to build on that, create more research, and create designs based on that research that are going to be effective. They're going to get people what they need and help you stand out as a rock star at work.
Exactly, which is at the end of the day what we're all really trying to do.
That's it. That's it. It's so simple. Yes.
We're all just trying to do that. I feel like one thing I tell people all the time is really to spend, even if it's like 5 to 10 minutes a day, sort of consuming information from humans that are smarter than you, because you can always like take a thing or two and then kind of regurgitate it as your own in like a meeting. Like, oh, I read this thing today that said, da, da, or oh, I was joining Shanae and she talked about runway
And that's
AI.
right. And giving credit what credit's due. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And that's the thing, like staying open to learning, no matter what your title is, no matter if you're a director or CEO or executive, always learning, always be learning. That's the thing.
Always be learning. Okay, Kathy wants to know, where can she find the course tomorrow? Where should she go?
Yeah. So definitely go to the LinkedIn Learning Catalog. It will be featured there bright and early. You can also follow me, and I will be posting about it as well.
I will second that. Follow Shanae, and she will let us all know with the link where to go, how we can look at it. It's just very, very helpful.
Oh, yeah.
I love this kind of question or prompt from Rachel, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on it, Shanae. She said, I like to keep a list of things that I want to learn about. I write it down. I feel like I can, revisit it or put time to learn in my calendar later. When you find something, whether it's ChatGPT or Runway AI or Canva AI, do you have a system that you use or to kind of gather the things that you want to learn about, or topics or apps or programs that you want to learn more about?
Yes, yes. Because if I don't, I will get overwhelmed and I will procrastinate. So I have to have a system to prioritize and break it down. And yes, kudos to Rachel having Notion as her tool for prioritizing her learning. I use a tool called Trello. So it allows me to set up a Kanban board, and it's just a fancy way of saying a digital board that I add in the topics that I want to learn about. And I set it up for every week. This week, this is where I'm going to learn. This is what I'm going to focus on. And then I have it set up for also next month. And I just do it month by month and focus on this current week, 1 week at a time, but then also add things to my backlog for months in advance. So that's how I get my learning in, how I prioritize as well.
I love that idea of really kind of breaking it up into little chunks, because I feel like that makes it more doable.
Oh
for
yeah,
me.
it's less scary. It's way less scary. Yes. So just try to focus
Exactly.
on like 3 things during the week, and that seems doable. That seems manageable. And if I get through those 3, I'll add something else, but not adding things to the point where it's exhausting. So just time management, just picking, prioritizing. And it's not easy. I don't get it right every week, but I get better each week. How about that? I get better. Yes.
I feel like that's so important only because I do feel like in January we get inundated with like big
Mhm.
goals, big resolutions, and
Yeah.
everybody puts 85 things that they want
Yeah.
to learn about. And then what happens come March? Like
Right.
it's too much, they've been abandoned,
Hmm.
nobody made headway. So I love this idea of whether it's Trello or Notion or
Yeah.
heck, a piece of paper and a pen,
Yeah.
just really
Absolutely.
breaking it down into those bite-sized bits. So helpful.
Yeah, because it should be fun. It should be exciting to learn something new and not feel like an obligation, like, oh, I have to do this in order to stay relevant. If it doesn't excite you, then what are you doing it for? So just really thinking about what you get excited about and what you want to learn and what's going to help you in your career as well.
1,000%. I feel like one of those things that I love kind of doing the bite-sized learning for me is I consume a lot of podcasts and newsletters. That's sort of like my little like bit of learning when it just comes to like an everyday habit. I'm curious, are there any newsletters or podcasts that you regularly consume that kind of give you a little bit of that cheat sheet insight?
Oh yeah, I love listening to podcasts. I listen to this podcast called Revision Path. And it's a
Mm.
podcast where they interview different designers, developers, and that's where I learned a lot about the runway AI tools, like the motion graphic
Ah.
tools, because I was listening to a motion designer who was interviewed talk about using that tool and talk about how he's starting to integrate AI into his process. So definitely recommend Revision Path. So you're hearing it from like the people who are doing the work on a daily basis as they are embracing new technologies and new tools. So that's a big one for me.
I love that because it feels like then there's such a through thread of like you heard it on a podcast,
Mhm.
it probably made it to your Trello board,
Yeah.
you kind of dug into it, and now you're at the point where, you know, here you are in a LinkedIn Live, like recommending it to other people. That's such a cool.
Kim, you already
It,
know. Yeah, you already know. You got it. That's my path. That's the plan. Yes.
I love that, and I feel like it's such a great for me, who's a very visual learner, and I'm sure there's other people joining that are also visual learners. I feel like that's so helpful because sometimes you hear this advice and you're like, "But how does it work in practice?" I'm like,
Yeah.
Shanae just showed
Yeah.
you how it works. That's how it works, like
That's right.
front to
Yeah. Get
back.
unstuck. We want to get unstuck in 2024. Yes. Yes.
1,000%. I'm curious also, you know, one of the things that I totally really love to dig into is this concept that in order to level up, you have to A, be around people that are also leveling up. And B, the goal is to always, I mean, it's a joke, but not really. I always say, I want to be the dumbest person in the room. Like, put me, I want to be
Ooh,
the dumbest one. I want to be around all smart people doing all smart things with
that's
all sorts of like
exciting. It feels
great tips and
intimidating a little bit,
tactics.
but that's exciting. Yes.
Exactly. One of the ways I love
Mhm.
to do that is social media. So, really kind of following and listening to people that are doing great things. So, I'm curious for you, whether it's on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or any of these social media sites, are there certain people or accounts that you follow that you just feel like, wow, I love everything that XYZ is posting about?
Oh man, that's really good. So I follow all kinds of folks, but some of the ones that stand out to me are the people who are disruptors and who are um, providing critical analysis and who are making noise about things as like AI evolves, thinking about how do we um, use these tools so that they do not create harm, that they do not create additional challenges and oppression and biases. So I definitely follow Dr. Timnit Gebru, who was a former Google researcher in AI. So I follow her on LinkedIn. Also, Dr. Joy Bulamwini, I believe, who has the book on the some of the misrepresentations that AI tools and machine learning can have based on not getting the proper testing with diverse participants. So if you have tools that are not being tested for humans with darker skin tones, you may miss out and you may jeopardize having data that's not accurate. Like if you're doing like facial recognition technology, for example. So I think there's some really impactful and important conversations happening in that space. And then just like for fun, I like to watch Corporate Erin on Instagram. She has some fun, like office side eye humor that I think is a lot of people can relate to if you've worked in corporate environments at some point in your life, that it will resonate with you as well.
You do need a little bit of fun in
Oh,
there
yeah,
amidst all the
absolutely.
learning. I love that you've really kind of dug into talking about AI and getting that diversity and really getting more schools of thought. It sort of leads into this question that Kathy has around using ChatGPT to do buyer research. I feel like one of the jargon terms is, buyer persona, where they say like, and your ideal person is Jimmy and he's 55 and lives in Alabama. They do these whole like fake people that are buying your product. Have you or any of your clients that you worked with used ChatGPT to help with creating this, or tips for writing a prompt?
Yeah, so you definitely can use ChatGPT to ask who are your competitors of your product. So if your product is Google Analytics, who are the competitors to Google Analytics? And who are the main buyers of Google Analytics paid subscriptions? And you can use that data to find out who your target audience would be based upon what the data is coming back from the AI tools. I think it's also really important to take note of when we create personas to also use real human data. So be on the lookout for opportunities to also recruit and find your target audience and ask them questions via a survey. And that's where you can use AI tools to help draft questions for your survey and ask them about how they actually use the tools today and what works well, what needs to be improved, what questions they still have. Because the AI tools are great, but they do not take away from needing real human input on what's working today and what needs to be improved. So just thinking of the AI tools as a component that helps with gathering that data, but not the only source for it.
Yeah, I definitely love this idea of, again, really like hear what Shanae is saying when she says you're using it as a tool. It's not like the end all be all to
Yeah,
create these buyer personas.
absolutely. Yeah.
Just don't do it. Just use it as a little help, but that's it.
Yeah, and you can use a prompt in ChatGPT to ask it to generate like 10 interview questions for a product at your company and have it ask these questions to understand customer retention. So you can craft it based upon what you need, what kind of data you need, but asking it to generate interview questions, generate survey questions that allow you to find more data about what's working well and what needs to be improved can be helpful.
Absolutely. And I will just underscore something that Shanae said, which is looking at competitors can also be really helpful. I think sometimes people think that they have to reinvent the wheel, that their, hair tie, they're starting from scratch with a buyer persona. No, there's like 100 other hair tie
Oh
companies
yeah.
that have already
Oh
done the
yeah.
work on who your
Yeah.
buyer persona is. Like, go find the other hair tie companies. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to
Absolutely.
reinvent the wheel. I think that's such a good point that you just brought up. Like, who are your competitors and who are they going after?
Yeah, that's right. And where do they struggle? Where do they have gaps? And maybe you and your company are able to fill in a gap and a demographic in a market that they are not doing well in. So thinking about that value proposition and how to set yourself apart from your competitors as well.
Exactly. What is your secret sauce that you are
Oh,
doing
yeah.
differently than they are? 1,000%. I'm curious, is there an app or software that you use that would surprise people? I know you talked about Trello. That's going to be so good. I know we're going to get lots of notes of people being like, how do you spell that again? Like, what is that? But are there any other apps or software that you use on a day-to-day basis that you're just like, this thing rocks?
Yeah, I very much believe that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you have to take care of your health and your wellness first, or you can't do any of this innovative, creative work. You just can't do it. It doesn't make sense. The human body needs rest and relaxation. And sometimes we forget that. So some of the ways that I get my rest back is I love to bake. So I'm using the Tasty app to find new recipes to bake some cookies. That's what I'm using. And that's a way for me to rest and to recharge and have some space to let things go and get physical with creating cookies versus being in the AI tools and the digital tools all day, every day.
I feel like even though at some point AI will get into our baking and cooking, a friend was telling me
3D printing the cookies. Yeah.
Totally. My friend was I wish I could remember the name of this app. Anyway, she had a bunch of leftovers over Christmas and she put it into some app where she basically said like, I have, pumpkin puree, croutons,
Ooh, okay.
and cilantro. Like what
Oh, wow.
and somehow the computer went and said like, here are, whatever, 10 recipes that use all three of those things. I
Okay,
will
I can
have to
see
remember what that
that.
is, but I
Yeah.
was like,
Please send
the
that to
AI.
me. Yes.
The AI is coming for our cooking too.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. No, totally. Oh wow. Stanley is saying I had a coworker that said her husband used ChatGPT to give him a
Oh,
workout
nice. Oh, that's a
routine.
good idea. I like to try that. Yeah.
Wow. She said that he knew what he needed in his workout just by the information that they gave him. Wow. Okay. So whether it's baking or workouts, ChatGPT here to help.
That's right. All kinds of ways to use the tools. All right.
I love that. Okay, so obviously this comes as no surprise to you, but you are surrounded by some fellow nerds. And as a fellow nerd, I can confidently say that we love homework. We love homework around these parts. So if you could give all of us a homework assignment for the rest of the week, it could be to watch something, it could be to do something, it could be to download something. What would be a homework assignment that you would say, hey guys, take whatever it is, 15 minutes, a half hour, an hour over the next couple of days and do this thing?
Yes. Two things. One, go to canva.com and sign up for a trial and try out the AI Magic Studio tools. A lot of fun. That's one. Yes. And then two, follow me on LinkedIn and see all the tips in my LinkedIn course tomorrow about updating your website and your apps and get a lot of new ideas from that as well.
1,000%. And I don't know for sure because I'm not sure how your LinkedIn course works, but I do know for some of the LinkedIn courses that get released, a lot of times for the first day or two, they're free for everybody.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I think yours might be, we don't know. We'll
It
find out
will.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I do
It will.
remember that. Yes, it will be free. And I also have discount codes. If people can't get in, message me. I will give you a discount code.
Okay,
Getting
everybody,
all the
no
hookup
excuses.
here. All the hookups. Yes.
Exactly. No excuses. If it's free, it's for you. If it's free, it's for me. We love free.
That's right. Sharing good news. Yes.
Sharing good news. I love that Matthew's like, this is such a great place to get solid information. Yes, Shanae has been full of lots of resources and apps and programs for us to use and play with and download, Canva being one of them. Shanae, obviously they're going to follow you on LinkedIn. Is that the best place to get in touch with you? Is that the best place to message you?
Yes, I am on LinkedIn every week. I'm posting, I'm going through the DMs. So hit me up. I am there. Also, reach out if you want to hang out and do coffee. I have a Calendly link where people can book time to chat with me and we can chat about all the things.
Oh, I love that. Please take Shanae up on her offer because I know it is hard to get these LinkedIn Learning instructors. Shanae is no different. Thank you so much for taking time with us today. I really appreciate it. This has been so fun.
This has been so good. It was so good to connect with you and to have this space to share about all the tools and everything that's happening. And yes, thank you for this
I love
platform.
it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for joining Shanae and I today. This was super fun. As always, we meet here every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So just mark it in your calendar. You can go to getcoffeewithkim.com and it will reserve this time and space and subject area in your calendar so you can make sure never to miss one of these sessions. It's right there. It's getcoffeewithkim.com. I so look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, same time, same place. And don't forget, tomorrow is the big day for Shanae. Check out her LinkedIn Learning course, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.